Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and it's been a while since we had a news update, so I thought we'd talk about the latest things from this past week with the new iPad. There's some things to talk about with the iPhone, Apple releases, and much more. This is your weekly Apple news update for the week of October 13th through the 18th, 2024. Now, Apple announced the new iPad mini that goes on sale next week, and it looks like, according to the latest Geekbench scores that have been found, that it actually ships with iOS 18 and has 8 gigs of RAM for Apple Intelligence. This makes sense as it does have Apple Intelligence and you would need that in order to run it. So 8 gigs of RAM, and it is a little bit slower with multi-core as it has 5 GPU cores. So instead of 6, like the other A18 Pro or A17 Pro rather, it's actually a little bit slower. But in general, it's pretty fast for an iPad mini, and of course we'll get our hands on one and check it out when it's available next week. Now, many people have said that the iPhone 16 isn't that big of an upgrade, so it probably won't sell well. However, the iPhone 16 sales in China apparently are quite good this year. According to Bloomburg, sales of the iPhone 16 models are up 20% year over year. So that's a pretty good sign that it's doing well, and a new report from Canalys shows that Apple actually had their best third quarter ever. Apple doesn't talk about overall sales, but if it is their best quarter, we'll definitely hear about it in the upcoming quarterly earnings result that they report on the 31st. So that's something that they report every quarter. We can listen in if you want to live, and it takes place at 5 p.m. Eastern Time or 2 p.m. Pacific on October 31st. Now, iPhone 16 is having some issues with battery, it seems. We'll talk about that in the weekend follow-up video since it goes along better with that video, but just be aware that it seems like some people aren't having the best results. So again, we'll talk about that in detail in a day or so. Now, the FTC in the USA actually has a new rule that requires companies to offer subscriptions and easily be able to cancel those subscriptions. This is something many people have wanted for a while. It's incorporated directly into iOS, so if we go into our settings, then we go to our account at the top, we can then go into our subscriptions and easily cancel a subscription if we want. So if I wanted to cancel any of these, Apple One, for example, I could go in just like this and go ahead and cancel all services. It makes it very easy, and this is now going to be a law, it seems. Hopefully it's this simple. We'll have to wait and see, but it needs to be as simple as it is to actually sign up. It should be just as simple to actually cancel if you want to. So hopefully we'll see that implemented very soon. Apple Pay has actually been out for 10 years at this point. Apple celebrated it this year, and you can see it says Apple celebrates 10 years of Apple Pay, and there's a whole news article about it. So you'll see top reasons consumers love Apple Pay, and they just go over different milestones. And with this announcement, Jennifer Bailey, who's in charge of Apple Pay and Apple Wallet, actually sort of leaked that they may be expanding digital car keys to rentals soon. Apple Wallet could be used just to easily go up to a car and unlock it, and this was with an interview with the Points Guy website, so maybe we'll see that implemented very soon. Apple also announced Klarna and PayPal integration this week as well. So now if you want to use Klarna or PayPal, you can use that in Apple Wallet when you're paying for something. And Apple Car Key integration looks like it's coming to Volvo, Polestar, and Audi very soon, according to code found by MacRumors. So it looks like they're making some big moves into Apple Wallet. I use it all the time. It's very convenient, and it'd be great to have more just associated with it so you can use your phone. I like to have a secondary key on hand, just like a digital ID versus having a physical driver's license, but either way, it's nice to be able to have it here as well if you just want to be able to use it quickly. Now this week, it looks like Powerbeats Pro have been discontinued for the year. Apple shared that they would be coming out next year with new Powerbeats Pro, and it should include a heart rate monitor. This was actually posted on Twitter by Beats, and you can see it here. So it was just sort of a hint of what's coming next. But if you search for Powerbeats Pro, you'll see Beats Studio Pro and the other things they offer, but you won't find Powerbeats Pro. So it looks like they've discontinued them, and we can get the new ones next year. Apple had a new announcement about the World Series this week, where Apple TV Plus announces new Major League Baseball documentary event offering fans an all-access view on the 2024 World Series. So they had a press release about this, and this should be coming out hopefully very soon, where it's sort of a behind-the-scenes look, and I think a 3-part series, where it should be a nice view overall into the sport. Now, I would love to see something like this on Vision Pro, but it doesn't seem like they're bringing this content there. You'll, of course, be able to watch it there, but not with the 180-degree immersive video. They had a great video recently in a submarine. It felt like you were there. I definitely recommend you watch it. It's called Submerged. If you haven't seen that and you have a Vision Pro, be sure to check that out. Now, there's been a lot of change up at Apple lately. Apple's chief people officer, Carol Surface, is leaving Apple, according to Bloomberg, after only being there since February 2023. The current CFO is moving to a smaller role, and Dan Riccio, who's actually in charge of Vision Pro, is retiring as well. So lots of different changes. There's other changes to go along with that. I think we'll see some big changes over the next few years as Tim Cook prepares to maybe retire as well. So we could see some changes internally at Apple. Hopefully they're making some as well to make things more stable, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the weekend follow-up. Now, as far as deals this week, well, there's always perpetual deals, it seems, on the AirPods Pro 2. So if you're looking to pick these up, you want great in-ear noise cancellation, these work great. AirPods 4 seem to have a discount as well. Apple Pencil Pro seems to have a discount to about $90 or so. This could vary depending on when you're watching the video. And I would hold off on buying any Macs until at least the end of this month, where we expect announcements for maybe new Macs. This is maybe going to be at an upcoming Apple event. We don't really know, but we're waiting for updated Macs with an M4 MacBook that leaked last week. This was actually from Russia. Apparently multiple people got their hands on them, MacBook Pros, and it looks like the M4 is pretty powerful. So we'll have to wait and see once we get our hands on it, but maybe there'll be a few surprises. We've also got a redesigned Mac Mini coming soon that could look more like the Apple TV, an updated iMac with an M4, and maybe this could all just be announcements like the iPad mini was, or we could have an event. If they're going to redesign the Mac Mini, I'm surprised we wouldn't have an event, but either way, I would expect those over the next couple of weeks or so. Now with iPhone SE 4, the cases for the upcoming phone actually leaked on Twitter this week. We expect it sometime next year, but Sonny Dixon actually posted an image of the cases both on the back and inside of the case. It shows that the iPhone SE 4 will probably have one camera and a flash. Unlike what we have with the iPhone 16 and 16 Plus, we have a vertical layout. It's sort of a horizontal cutout, which makes me think we'll have a camera and then a flash. That's typical of the iPhone SE 4 or SE. It's expected to look similar to the iPhone 14 as far as the squared off design, an OLED display, and USB-C as well. So we're expecting a very similar phone, but with Apple Intelligence for a low-end phone. So that's something, again, we'll see probably next year. This upcoming year, we're expecting the iPhone 16 Plus to maybe be replaced with a new special edition iPhone 17 Slim or iPhone Air. According to analyst Jeff Poo in a recent research note from Haitong International, the iPhone 17 Slim or iPhone Air will have a 6.6-inch display, be made of aluminum, not titanium, have the A19 chip, not the Pro chip, 8 gigs of RAM, a new Apple-designed modem, and feature a single 48-megapixel camera. The phone is also said to have a full redesign, so we could see something completely different, again, like we had with the iPhone X. However, a single camera, though, I would be a little surprised about, but maybe it has some additional features. So, of course, we're going to hear more and more about this as Apple starts to finalize the design and begin the manufacturing setup and process. Something I didn't expect to see is iPhone 18 news. Apparently, in a new post from a reliable source on Weibo, Apple's actually working with TSMC, who actually makes their chips for the iPhones and Macs and more. They're coming up with a 2-nanometer chipset along with 12 gigs of RAM for the phone that's a couple years away at this point. So we may get 12 gigs of RAM in the iPhone 17 with the new Slim model we're expecting, but it looks like we'll definitely get it after that with an upgraded chipset that could be even more efficient and more powerful. Apple has been pretty slow to update the HomePod. We had the original HomePod for a while, then we got an updated version and a HomePod Mini. However, they really haven't done a whole lot with it, but it looks like they're making a new smart home integration push with a new Home OS. So in the code of iOS 18, we've seen Home OS, it's been added and removed, and it looks like they're working on something completely different. There's been a few rumors of HomePods with screens that could follow you around as maybe you're on a FaceTime call, similar to what we already have with Center Stage, or we could see additional features or changes. I would love to see some sort of Home OS version that works across the iPad and works better than what we have with the Home app itself. Home is okay, but it's not great, and it seems a little bit messy and not really that easy to use unless you're really familiar with it. I would love to see a redesigned version of this that just manages everything, so maybe we'll see that in the next few months or early next year. Now, we've heard before that Apple's working on a new version of Apple Vision Pro that could be less expensive. Now, the Apple Vision Pro seems to be lacking in content. It's a very nice device, but again, has a lot of content that's not there, maybe things that we haven't seen yet that have been promised, and it's just something that I find that I don't use very often at all, maybe while taking notes or something like that, or when there's a new immersive video. However, the next version Apple's working on could cost about $2,000 instead of $3,500. I don't know if that's cheap enough to actually justify many people buying it, but it is a nice VR AR headset, but there's not enough content in my opinion. Apple's apparently going to use less expensive displays, maybe lighter materials, which that's something I would welcome as this is quite heavy and I can wear this for about a maximum of 2 hours. I do like the device, but I don't find a huge use for it around my house day to day. So I would love to see more content, but at least they're working on it. They're going to try it again, and we could see a new version sometime next year, according to Mark Gurman. Apple's also apparently working on glasses, smart glasses, not like the Vision Pro just yet, as the technology's not just there yet, but with cameras possibly similar to what we have with Meta's Ray-Ban glasses. So those things could be out maybe sometime next year if they're working on something a little simpler, or we may never see them, but it looks like they've at least explored that possibility. Also, Apple is apparently working on AirPods with cameras in them. So this could be to go along with maybe some new monitoring capabilities or recognizing what's in your environment, similar to the glasses. But again, these are all things they're working on. Whether or not they actually release is really hard to say. Now, in just a couple weeks, we'll get the first public release of Apple Intelligence. I've been using it for a while, and the one area I really enjoy it is with notifications. It summarizes everything. It does that very well, and it definitely saves me time having to sort of figure out what different emails or notifications are for. So we'll get the first public version of that, but I'm also looking forward to, hopefully in a couple weeks as well, to that new MacBook, probably with MacBook Pro, M4 Max, hopefully, and that redesigned Mac Mini. Let me know what you're looking most forward to in the comments below, and of course I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.